the engine driving this economy, we've got to put some fuel in the engine. That's why in the first 90 days as president, I am going to ask Congress to send me legislation that will lower the top corporate and personal tax rate to 25%, take zero taxes on repatriated profits, and take the capital gains tax rate to zero and make all of those permanent. That's how we put fuel in the engine. Now, once we get the economic engine moving, then we can address a lot of the other issues that we face. A lot of the other issues that we face. You know, when I was growing up as a young man in Atlanta, I never said or dreamed that I would run for president one day. That wasn't what I wanted to do. When I was growing up, I came from a very humble family. My mother was a domestic worker. My father was a barber, a janitor, and a chauffeur, all at the same time. Because Dad knew that he needed one job to put food on the table, the second job to keep a roof over our head, and that third job to save for his American dreams. Because just like your parents, Dad wanted us to get a little bit better start in life. And we did. Dad was able to achieve his American dreams, even though he walked off of a farm at the age of 18, literally with just the clothes on his back. Dad achieved his American dreams the old-fashioned way. He worked for it. That's one of the reasons I'm running for president. Because I want our children and our grandchildren to be able to have the same opportunity that we have.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see,
I want our children and our grandchildren to be able to grow up in a nation where we get government out of the way, government off our backs, and government out of our pockets because it's gotten out of hand.
He's speaking to a global audience right now.
Like I said, the founding fathers got it right when they talked about the pursuit of happiness. The founding fathers got it right when they talked about limited government. The founding fathers got it right when they talked about individual responsibility and individual liberties. And that's what we've got to get back to. When I was doing my radio show in Atlanta, before I started running for president, I was on the radio for 5 years. But when you run for president, according to McCain-Feingold rules, you have to become unemployed. So I'm now unemployed to run for president. Now you would think that you would be able to keep a job while you're running. No! Now, those that are already in office, they get to keep their job. But they told me I couldn't keep my job. I think it's a little bit of a double standard, but that's not going to stop me. Because I'm learning that the American people have an appetite. The American people have an appetite for a non-politician. I have never held public office. I am a business problem solver. That's what I have done all of my life. And I happen to believe that those same skills will work in Washington, D.C. from the White House. I happen to believe that. When I give my speeches inside the Beltway sometimes, I'll have someone stand up and say, your ideas about taxes and replacing the tax code with the fair tax, that all sounds well and good, but you can't do that. My response is, what do you mean I can't do that? Well, you don't know how Washington works. My response is, yes I do. It doesn't. It doesn't work. So why do I need to learn how it does not work? You would be sending me to Washington, D.C. to change Washington, D.C., not become a part of the culture in Washington, D.C. Here's how we're going to change it. former Senator Everett Dirksen popularized the statement, when they feel the heat, they will see the light. See, the heat comes from the people. That's you. So my job after I'm president is to be a president of the people, by the people, and for the people. Not for the politicians, not for Washington, D.C. That means I'm going to listen to you, not listen to the lobbyists or listen to the establishment. Listen to the people, because the people in this country are crying out to the top of their voice. We the people are still in charge of this country, and we want to take it back. That's what the people are saying. So when people ask me, why am I running for president? Like I said, it's for the children and the grandchildren. I'll never forget when I looked into the face of my first grandchild back in 1999. I looked into that little face, and the first thought that crossed my mind was, what do I do to make this a better nation and a better world? I didn't know the answer then. 12 years later, I believe I know the answer. 12 years later, I believe I know the answer after a lot of prayer, a lot of soul searching, a lot of prayer and a lot of soul searching. That's when I made the decision to run. Now, I love it when people say that I don't have a chance of getting the nomination, that I don't have a chance of winning the presidency. All that does is it inspires me to work a little harder and work a little longer. Love it when they try to count me out. Love it. But you see, here's something they don't know about Herman Cain. I have been going against the odds all my life. This isn't anything new for me. When I took over Godfather's Pizza in 1986, Godfather's was supposed to fail. They had already predicted that it was going to go bankrupt. It didn't go bankrupt when I got there, surrounding myself with the right people. Why didn't we fail? I didn't get the memo that we were supposed to fail. I didn't get the memo that America can't fix its problems. That's why I'm running. But I've been going against the odds throughout my life. Let me tell you about another instance back in 2006 where I beat the odds, which is another reason I'm running for president of the United States. In 2006, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The doctors told me that I had a 30% chance of surviving. 3 out of 7. And I said, well, doc, I'm not going to be in the 30. I'm going to be in the ones where you survive. 30%, the 30%, not the 7. And back in 2006, against the odds, I had to go through chemotherapy, double surgery, where they took out 30% of my colon, 70% of my liver, more chemotherapy, and now, as of 2 weeks ago today, after my latest annual checkup, I have been cancer-free for 5 straight years against the odds. Against the odds. When I was on Neil Cavuto, and I showed him the letter that I got from my doctor with my 5-year clean bill of health, Neil Cavuto said, God just didn't want to deal with you yet. I said, maybe he didn't, but I happen to believe that God wanted me to stay here so I could try and make a difference right here in this community and in this country. He said, not yet. So that's another reason that I'm running, folks, because I happen to believe that we were all put here on this planet
Well, ladies and
to make
gentlemen,
a
we're going to take a
difference.
short break. And we'll be
Everybody
right
can
back.
make a difference.